Well, hello friends. Today we're going to dive into the captivating world of electional astrology, which is kind of like a cosmic roadmap for selecting the perfect timing for major life events. Electional astrology has been guiding people to find auspicious times for these kinds of events for centuries. Today we'll explore some electional astrology basics as well as talk about how people use it. Electional astrology has its roots in ancient traditions going back hundreds of years, when astrologers meticulously analyzed planetary positions to figure out favorable moments for crucial activities. Over time, astrologers have developed an arsenal of techniques to create just the perfect electional chart for a start date. Some of these techniques are complicated while others are quite simple. In her excellent book on the subject, Lee Lehman gives sage advice that at the end of the day, a good electional will inspire confidence in the person using it, and that alone can go a long way toward finding success in our endeavors. Now let's dig into the burning question: how does electional astrology work? In predictive astrology, we're using astrology to make educated guesses about what could happen in the future. Electional astrology invokes free will, rule-based analysis, as well as a little bit of magic, because we're starting out knowing what's going to happen. We know we're going to buy a house or take an important action. We know the action we plan to take, and then we're looking for a time to start that action that will then set the stage for a greater chance of success than we might get if we pick that time randomly. So electional astrology is all about strategically timing the start of activities to optimize our chance of success. Electional astrology is kind of like having a cosmic GPS, which we can then use to find the best route for the smoothest journey. Now let's explore 3 techniques that make this cosmic tool tick. And the first one is planetary condition and placement. Electional astrologers study charts to seek out the best ones available that align with that person's intended action. Ideally, the best chart also describes the people involved and gives a sense of the ease or difficulty, or usually both, that person might encounter once they start that action. One key tool in this analysis is the planet's condition. Now that includes the planet's sign and house placement, its aspects, and a whole host of other tools that some astrologers might use to evaluate that planet's condition. The second key technique used involves a focus on the moon, which takes center stage in electional astrology. The moon's sign and house are considered as usual, but the moon's phase is also analyzed by a lot of astrologers here. The waxing phase is often used to align with actions where we want to see some growth or development, while we might use the waning phase for actions that correlate with winding down or reduction. You might have also heard the term void of course. Well, that has to do with the moon, and it's a pet technique of a lot of electional astrologers. Many astrologers believe that taking action while the moon is void of course has a bit less juice to get going, so astrologers are going to note those times and then try to find charts outside of those usually brief windows. Now, the third key involves a focus on the houses. The 12 houses of a natal chart represent different areas of life, as you might know. Electional astrologers are going to analyze the houses in a natal chart to pinpoint the favorable times for specific activities based on their correspondence with the relevant house. Special attention here is given to the ascendant and the planet ruling that ascendant, sometimes called the chart ruler, because that planet's thought to be important when it comes to the outcome of the action, and it also describes the person taking the action. The descendant, which is another angle in the chart, becomes important in situations that involve another person, like a buyer-seller relationship in a real estate transaction. If the person asking for the election is selling a house and looking for a good time to list, they're represented by the ascendant and its ruler, while the potential buyer is described by the descendant and its ruler. Now, beyond this, there are a ton of additional techniques that some electional astrologers will use. Some of them are quite ancient, while others are more modern innovations. But you might be wondering, how does electional astrology relate to timing or natal chart analysis? Well, many electional astrologers say it's important to relate the selected chart back to the birth chart of the person the electional's for. So the birth chart can play a crucial role in this analysis. The astrologer might find the perfect electional chart, but they might let it go if they don't find a good connection back to that person's natal chart and angles. Then it's back to the drawing board. Now that we know a little bit about how electional astrology is done, let's talk about why we might use it in the first place. As we've been saying, electionals are used to start actions. While we could use electionals to time everyday things like leaving the house or getting a haircut, that's probably not its best use, not to mention not being a great use of our time in general. So most people use electional astrology to find dates for major events that have long-term consequences. For instance, like selecting a date for a wedding. Couples consult electional astrologers to choose wedding dates that might speak to harmonious connection or look like they describe the prospects of a happy and lasting union. Now, every chart has its challenges, and so does every relationship, but some believe that selecting a start time for a marriage that includes a little bit of extra flow is worth a shot. At the end of the day, the couple's charts as individuals need to be assessed as well. Now, going in another direction, many people will consult an electional astrologer to pick a start time for a business venture, like a business incorporation date or the official date for the opening for the business. They'll be looking for positive potential, of course, and ease and flow, and usually also growth as well as a financial focus. It's also common to use electional astrology for real estate transactions, and I've seen people have some pretty great results with that. And some people will use electional for any major purchase, like a car or even an expensive vacation. People have also consulted electional astrologers for the timing of important medical procedures like surgeries. And in this case, the person has already consulted with a licensed medical professional and they've got a procedure set up. Then they consult the astrologer to find an auspicious time to schedule that procedure. And I hope it goes without saying here that we always want to consult a licensed medical professional for any medical decisions. Now, as far as scheduling goes, that can get a little tricky, especially if you're not wanting to share that you're using astrology to pick the start time, but it's pretty easy to just say something like, you know, I'm not available at 10 a.m. Can we schedule it at 11 instead? Now, there's so much more to say about electional astrology and the many techniques that astrologers use. If you're interested in learning electional astrology yourself, there are a few good books out there by authors like Bruce Schofield, Marion March, and Lee Lehman. And we offer some intro courses at Astrology University too if you're ready to jump in right now, including a course with Mary Shea, who's revered as one of the best modern electional astrologers working today. Tune in to hear some of her favorite time-tested tips in her Intro to Electional Astrology course. Search for it on our site or reach out to our help team to find it. But to wrap things up today, electional astrology is rooted in ancient wisdom and continues to guide people in making significant life decisions even today. It's yet another example of the many ways astrology is used for self-awareness, growth, and even success. As more people turn to astrology for guidance, electional astrology is one of its oldest tools for intentionally timing life's important decisions. Well, thanks for joining me today in yet another exploration of our connection with the cosmos. If you found this video enlightening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more astrology insights. And until next time, take good care.